Well, hi church, and welcome to video 3, step 7 in the Rostered Minister Transition Guide. This is an exciting time as a call committee when you get to meet and interview candidates. This is an exciting time, a prayerful time, and also a confidential time. This is really where the process really needs to stay right in the call committee's hands. Once you receive a rostered minister profile, it cannot be shared, not with staff, not with your spouses, not anybody except the people who are named to be part of the call committee process. All candidates that you consider being rostered leaders in your faith community need to be ELCA or in full communion partnership with the ELCA. And if you're curious on what that means, please contact a Synod staff person before you arrange for an interview. First call candidates are a super gift to our Synod. They are excited to start ministry in faith community settings, and we work hard in the Synod staff to recruit young leaders to come and be public Christian service members in our Synod. If you're interested in a first call candidate, we want you to know that they will be interviewed by themselves, meaning that you cannot interview seasoned pastors against first call pastors for obvious reasons, but I'll share for some reasons just to be clear. First call pastors are not going to interview the same as people who have been out in pastors in the field and had a lot of experience. They're eager to learn, but they might be green. The interview process might be a little bit different, asking them questions not about based on their experience, but maybe what their hopes and dreams are, what they've experienced on internship or on any other hours that they have served becoming a rostered leader. So again, if you're interested in interviewing a first call pastor, you will only get their name to interview during the call process time and decide if you want to move forward with them or not before getting more names. Married couples are another interesting dynamic. And we have many rostered leaders who are married. So if you have a rostered minister profile that show that they are married to a deacon or another pastor, please let the Synod office know, because we would like to walk you through the possibilities and the advantages of also interviewing somebody who is married to another rostered leader in our Synod. Our staff is just determined and dedicated to finding the best rostered leaders we can for you to interview. After 3 rostered leaders' names are given to you as a call committee, we ask that you consider all 3 of those candidates before asking for more names. We realize you know your context better than we do. However, with today's technology, we encourage you to at least give a Zoom interview to each of the candidates whose names you have received, to give them an opportunity to interview, and sometimes just seeing them and meeting them in person or in the great living room in the sky called Zoom gives you a different impression of who they are than just seeing their stuff on paper. Call committees needs to reach out to the candidates upon receiving their rostered minister profile to know that they have received it and to share with them the next steps where they are in the call process. If the candidate is for certain not going to be considered, please contact that candidate by phone and let them know that they are no longer being considered in your faith community. A letter could follow. The call committee and the Synod minister will consider characteristics of each candidate before releasing their names. We want to make sure that our candidates in the Northwest Minnesota Synod have completed a boundary training workshop in the last 3 years or are registered for one in our Synod if they're new. We also want them to complete an anti-racism workshop. And again, that is every 3 years. They are registered for one or have completed one. Finally, all candidates will have to pass a background check before being called to be your next rostered leader. We'd like to pass along some interview tips. We recommend meeting with the synod minister or the conference dean to celebrate the completion of the ministry site profile being done and posted, and to prepare for this next stage of interviewing. We'd like to encourage you to write down the interview questions that you're going to ask each candidate, and make sure you ask each candidate the same questions. If follow-up questions are free form, we understand that that's how those conversations sometimes go. We encourage you to provide a tour of your congregation or faith community, show the tour of the town or community, show them where other churches are in your community, partners in ministry, businesses, neighborhoods, schools, hospitals, recreation areas, and parks. Touring all of these, give a picture of who you are as a community and what the needs might be that the church could meet. Describe the usage and maintenance and value and ideas of possible future partnerships. Meet the staff of the congregation, and maybe have time for them to have a separate interview. An evening meal or a relaxed setting is encouraged, so you can get to know one another without the kind of pressure or stress of a focused interview. And that time can be with the rostered leader's spouse and the rostered leader's family. They should be included, not in the formal interview, but at some time, so that you can get a sense of them and they can get a sense of you too. A meeting for the planned interview is set, and make sure when that formal interview happens that families are taken care of, that they have someone from the congregation that is even giving them a tour or taking the kids on a fun event, so that they can have this as a special time too. Be ready to be interviewed by the candidates. Anticipate questions they may have for you. Like, for instance, if they are going to ask you about youth ministry in your faith community, decide who on the call committee could respond to that question to the best of their abilities. And then practice your elevator speech. How would you respond in a quick and timely response? Figuring out who could respond to what question will have the interview go smoothly, and the candidate will know that you have been prepared to be interviewed as well. Remember that inappropriate questions sometimes have the interview feel awkward. So one good litmus test is, what would you not want to be asked? Some questions that have been asked that we deem in the Synod office as inappropriate. Like, what are you going to do with your kids during worship? Or, what's your spouse's job and will they cover your insurance costs? These are inappropriate things to ask in an interview setting. Communication with the candidates is key during this time, so identifying someone to keep in touch with the 3 names that you have been given, or any of the names that you have been given, updating them on the process is great practice in communication and builds a trusting relationship. We've been asked often to how we can get teaching or preaching examples, and the internet is probably filled with them. So you have permission to look online and look at their Facebook. We just want to remind you that some people have a private Facebook page and some have a professional Facebook page. So make sure you know what you're looking at. We really implore you to pray over this time. Since it's a confidential time and confidential process, please lean into the power of prayer and come together and lean on each other as call committee members, and the Spirit will work and point you to the best roster leader for your setting.